Guys, today I will show you perhaps the most tankiest DPS setup in Diablo 4. I tried to fix a Druid because even if we have shit ton of health and DPS, you will still receive one shots at tier 100 nightmare dungeons. As you see, bosses is no problem for us. Tier 100 elites, easy money. Tier 100 nightmare dungeon bosses, again, barbecue chicken, baby. The only issue with this build, which I had previously, was survivability, because randomly shadows, explosions just killed you even with 20k HP. And now we fix this build to destroy all the content in the game, carry your teammates at tier 100 nightmare dungeons, slap bosses, carry bosses, you name it, earn the gold with this build, because now we have 24k armor. But only downside to this build that it's kinda boring. You have to sit in the corner and just see how everybody and everyone is dismantled, deleted from the server. Everybody is dying like in a couple milliseconds. This build is absolutely ridiculous, and I will remind your guys that this is tier 100. Tier 100. You can't get higher than this, and this build slaps hard everything, just like your ex. Ha! But before we continue, quick warning, they sponsor DVING.net. If you don't have enough time or good teammates, but you still want to have all the best items in your game, then DVING.net is set for you. They have absolutely amazing team on consoles. They will complete your orders super quick. Everything has been working here for many years. They have tons of customer reviews. You can check everything by yourself. But now, with my promo code RBDIV or RBDIA, you will receive 15% discount on absolutely all services. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, drop your comment down below in comment section or contact the operator. But now let's get back to this setup. Like I said, only down part of this build, it's boring. It's simple as that. You don't have to do any combinations, run around the map, run and gun playstyle, do whatever, do some other like skill combinations. You simply stack your storm and then spam the shit out of storm lightning, and you're gonna dismantle everybody and use your bulwark to be unstoppable, to proc T-Bolt's will, to get resources. That's like perfect cycle. You are getting unstoppable, proccing extra damage, you are gaining resources by proccing bulwark and using trample. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's simple build. I will try to cover everything really quickly and in simple fashion. If you love that kind of videos, hit that like, smash that sub, or leave a hateful comment. It really depends on your preference, but the main thing is the mask, Tempest Roar, then the new gloves, which was introduced with Season 3. Really good gloves. T-Bolt's Will to proc Unstoppable. We will use Bulwark and trample, leap basically. For the boots though, I'm using Nature's Fury. Skills will reduce cooldown for 5 seconds for us. For the rings though, you should look damage to distant enemies and damage to close enemies, crit chance and the health. The same story on our Axe, which will deal damage to healthy enemies. That's really important. On the Axe, again, you should prioritize willpower, all stats, because we need to hit those Paragon board points or break points, and of course close damage and distant damage, enemies to distant. Then damage to distant enemies, because that will go without Thunderstrike legendary note. We will receive tons of amplified weapon damage. This is my construct. I'm using Tempest, Flash of Adrenaline, nothing new. Here, resource support, breaking support to apply vulnerability, efficiency support, again, Genesis. Really self-explanatory. I think this is generally accepted construct in the game. Everybody is using these kind of stones. It is what it is. Yes, you could receive a little bit more damage reduction from your construct as well, but I think that I need more that vulnerability buff from my construct, so I don't have to use exploit glyph. My skill tree hasn't changed too much. I'm using my lightning storm, which hits extremely hard. We are using Bulwark. Like I said, Bulwark will proc Unstoppable for us, and that will give us resources and of course extra damage buff. We are using Companions and Trample. Again, one more source from Unstoppable, and to gain resources, I'm not using Petrify. Nature's Fury will help us to reduce the cooldown for our Bulwark, so all the time we have Bulwark, but if you need boss kills, Lupine Ferocity will be the way to go. It will produce more DPS output, but for tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons, go with my shown the skill. In terms of my skill tree, I changed some things quite a bit. I optimized it as best as I could, and I think this is the best DPS skill tree. I optimized shit ton of this Paragon, but trust me, I switched the glyphs here and there, and I optimized the paths and the glyph efficiency. I guess the glyphs are hitting extremely hard, so I'm using territorial. I'm receiving damage to close enemies, and this glyph will work with our not lust for carnage, but with thunder strike right here. As you see, my current buff is 56%. That's ridiculous amplified damage, and I tried my best to optimize every Paragon board so the glyphs are receiving the best buffs, the best damage amplifications, not addictive damage but amplifications, at the same time resistances, guys. We capped out all the resistances, and that's the reason why I'm using these glyphs. And electrocution, look at this, 356, and I could apply one more glyph here and receive almost 400 damage from that one Paragon alone. I mean, it's pretty disgusting. And look at the survivability, tier 100, and sometimes still with all the 25k armor you will be one-shotted, especially from this diamond and shadows, from the affixes in the game. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But mobs, no problem whatsoever.